So welcome, boom, chicka, wow, wow, to another fantastic show of My Orgasmic Life. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Gaia Morrissette. And if you happen to be watching me, you might be like, I think Gaia's naked. Guess what? I know I look like I'm naked, which is perfect for our show today. However, I have to prove I have clothes on. I don't want to get kicked off the Facebook. Otherwise, I would show up naked. Okay, so our conversation today is about me being a nudist, actually, and all the things of what it means to be a nudist, and some of the misconceptions, and when did I how did I become a nudist, and we're going to talk about the ins and outs of me being a nudist, and why they call me a shady nudist. All right, where do I want to start? Let's start long time ago when I was a wee lass. When I was a little girl, actually, I was a nudist. As soon as I could figure out how to get out of my clothes, I did. So this was like an ongoing, I think it was funny. I don't think my mother thought it was so funny, but I thought this was like the best game ever. So my mother would put me in these like onesie pajamas, sleepers. And because I was a really long kid, I was a really tall kid, but my feet were very small. So to get the onesies that fit me, and they had the built-in feet, the feet were like this much longer than my actual toes, like my feet, right? So I was trying to walk, I would fall over them. And so I'm like, screw this, I'm escaping. So that was the first thing. I had to figure out how to get out of my clothes. That was my first creative problem solving moment of my life. I get naked again. So once I figured out how to get out of my clothes, my mom would put me to bed. She would come check on me. I would get out of my clothes. I get out of my diapers. Like, I did not like having clothes on any level. My body did not like being covered. It wanted to be free. And so she was constantly trying to chase me around the house, try to get my clothes on. I remember having guests, family over, and I'd figured out how to, escape my clothes. And I was like running through the living room where everybody is. So I was a streaking man. I don't know. I must have been like 3. Yeah, probably about 3. And I'm like, hee. So I'm like running through the house butt naked. And when I would like go hee, I would like wiggle my bum at mooting our guests at our house, and my mother would be like, chasing me, come here, put your clothes back on. So I really come by it naturally. That's the moral of the story, is that I started off that I was like, I was born naked, and then I just wanted to stay naked as much as possible in my life. So let's fast forward. So I realized that, I have to conform to society, and I'm not allowed to go outside without my pants on. And when I'm at school, I got to keep my clothes on. And, so it's like I've, come to this realization that I have, there's a reason behind why I need to conform. I don't like it, but I'm like, okay. However, I'm not the only nudist in my family, by the way. All my siblings, like every time we go swimming, we always ended up skinny dipping, right? So we'd all end up skinny dipping. We tie our bathing suits. We go in the water, and then we tie our bathing suits to our ankles. Although, that didn't work out well for one of my siblings. She lost her bathing suit, but that's a story for another time, and it's not my story to tell. Anyways, so every year, me and my sisters would like go, and we would have our like annual sister skinny dip, and we would go, and we would go to the beach, and we would go skinny dipping, and we'd have a blast, and we would do this like once a year. And all of my friends, every time they hung out with me, and especially if we were in the water, I was always going to be naked. Like that was just a given. You know, you get me into the water, we go to the beach, we go to the pool, whatever. My bathing suit's coming off and it's going around my ankle. So all my friends used to laugh about how, eventually at some point you're going to end up being naked. I'm going to end up being naked, and I'm going to invite them to come frolic naked with me in a non-sexual way. And I think this is the other piece. And, I'm going to get to this in a second, is that, all of this, me running around naked and frolicking naked and swimming naked, has nothing to do with arousal, has nothing to do with sex, has nothing to do with my horniness at all. Those are separate things. I love those things. And often I do those things naked. But that has nothing to do with the freedom of being a nudist. For me, being naked outside and having all the elements be able to touch and access all of my body is this incredible, freeing experience. And in all honesty, when I'm wearing clothes, it feels kind of claustrophobic. Like I feel like restraint. And and it's really important. And again, people who've just jumped on, the live, I have clothes on. I am not naked. So no one freak out and, tell Facebook that I'm naked on here. Okay. All right. So where was I? Oh, the nude piece. So being a nudist has nothing to do with sexuality. It has to do with being in the body. It has to do with embracing the body. It has to do with the freedom of the senses and the awareness of around us. That is why, most people are nudists. That's why I'm a nudist anyways. Everybody has their own reasons, but that's why I'm a nudist. So, years I frolic, like I'm 45. So, I'm frolicking naked and frolicking in the forest and frolicking naked where I'm not supposed to. And every opportunity I'm naked, and come over to my house, it's always hot, so I'm naked. Like, so that's the theme. And a friend of mine, starts going to a nudist resort, and she's going to a nudist resort for about, 4 years. And every year she's like, why are you not at the nudist resort with me? And I'm like, I thought a big part of my thrill or my, desire of being naked was because I wasn't supposed to. Because, let's be honest, I like breaking rules. So I thought that was part of the reason why I was, always running around naked. And, so when she was like, come on, I was like, nah. So it took about 4 years. And finally I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. So this is what ends up happening. I drive in, I bring another friend with me, right? We drive in to the nudist resort. And the most bizarrest experience, scene that I had ever seen. There's all these people driving golf carts naked. People are playing tennis naked. People are going for walks naked. People are biking naked. And I was just like, this is just so surreal. And it felt so surreal because, one, I had never seen it. And second, I still had clothes on. So I'm like, okay. I'm going to, we park the car. We go, go into the place, and we register and we pay for our day pass. And I remember being in, the parking lot, and like everybody's naked. And so you feel so weird. Like it feels so uncomfortable because you're the odd person. Like what's happening seems like it's very odd from a societal norm, yet you're standing there and you're the weirdo. You're the odd one because you're wearing clothes. And so I'm like, okay, all right. So we go in and we get the tour, and then we found our lounge chairs around the pool, and we're sitting by the pool, and I start taking off my clothes. And I'm like, all of a sudden, this like liberation and this freedom. And I start to sing and dance. I'm like, and I don't even remember what the dance was, but it was like my, woo, I'm naked, I'm free, these are my people. Like, I'm just like, do this dance. Like wiggling my bum. I'm like wiggling my whole body. I'm like, it was like, oh my God, there was like, this was this missing piece around my, expression of being a nudist and being, and it normalizing it and it not being about sex, like it being nothing to do with sex at all. And so that was the first piece of that. And I was like, I love this. So then I was addicted. And so then I started going all the time. The next thing I really loved, and as there's like two other major pieces as a woman that was so transformative. The first one was to not be sexualized. You know, as a woman, I've spent my whole life being sexualized since childhood, actually. And so to be able to be in a mixed company and to be naked, and me being naked is not something to ogle or to sexualize me, and that we're just having a conversation, that was profoundly healing of my trauma. That was profoundly healing as a woman. That was profoundly healing that I didn't feel like I was prey. It was profoundly healing of my being able to heal and interact with men in a new way, even while I was naked. It was so amazing and so transformational for me. The second thing that was like epic was the fact that I now could see all the different shapes, sizes, ages of what naked bodies look like. And because I got to see what real naked bodies look like, it helped with my own body image issues. It helped with my body self-esteem, my body self-worth. It helped me to have new framework of what is beautiful and how my body is being naked can look. And this is a really, really, really powerful, powerful piece of healing around body image. Because the problem is that when do we see naked bodies? We see naked bodies in porn. We see naked bodies in movies, and they're all very, they look like one body type. They all have like, and some of them are airbrushed, and, they don't have stretch marks, and they don't have, all, cellulite, and they don't have, droopiness, and they don't have, they don't have all the things that natural human bodies look like. And so we get a distorted perception of what the human body is supposed to look like. And when we look in the mirror and we don't see staring back at us any image that we've ever seen to compare it to normalize it, to find the beauty within ourselves, this makes it really hard. No matter how much that media distorts your perception, it makes it really hard to love and accept all of your body as it is and find the beauty in your body shape, your body size. And when you go to a nudist resort, it's great because now you have all these new visual possibilities that you can relate to. That the human body is shapes and colors and sizes and ages and all sorts of things. So it's incredibly amazing. All right, so those are some of the benefits that I found personally that have been transformational for me. The other piece is being able to be, for me, like I said, I've been a nudist since I was a kid. Basically, I popped out a nudist. And as a nudist, I have really never really liked clothes. And so to have a space where it's safe like physically safe for me to be naked without any potential dangers. For me to be able to be in nature, because I'm a nature girl and a magical being with nature. This brings me joy and happiness, like giddy happiness. So, and that's why I wanted to share this with you guys, because this, over the last couple months, I haven't been as vocal and I haven't been as showing up as much. And it's because I've been doing some major healing and major rewiring of my brain. Yay me. And during that period, it hasn't been much fun, right? Healing is not usually very much fun. And this weekend, it was the first time that it was warm enough, half the time I live at the nudist resort. So that's how much I love being at the nudist resort. Half the time I live at the nudist resort. And so I was at the nudist resort this weekend, and I was there, and it was beautiful, and it was sunny, and it was warm, and I pulled out my drum, my hand drum. You might have seen some pictures already that I shared. And, and I got to drum naked. And in that being outside, drumming, connecting to who I am, embodying truly the essence of me, which is drumming and expression and happiness and joy and being naked, that just lifted my whole spirit. It lifted everything about me. And all I needed to do was sit outside with the drum and be naked. I didn't need any drugs. I didn't need anything. I just needed to do the thing that brings me the most joy. And for me, being a nudist outside brings me the most joy. So once we get through this pandemic, if first of all, if you have the opportunity to run around naked in your own home, I highly recommend doing that. That's phase 1 of being a nudist. Freedom. Right? The second thing is once the pandemic is done, I highly recommend you going and checking out a nudist resort. They're all over the world. And, being that they're all over the world, check them out and see the freedom that expresses, the opportunities. Not to mention, our bodies like to be exposed, and I don't mean in a sexual way, but like they like air. They want to breathe. Our genitals want to breathe. Our nipples want to breathe. Our body wants to move and jiggle and be free. That's the best way in which it functions. Being bound and wrapped up in clothing and bras and underwear and all these things, our bodies don't like it because it's not what we are meant. This is what I see. If we were meant to be wearing clothes all the time, we would have been born with them. We're not. We're born butt naked. Right? The only purpose of clothes is one, expression, and it's an important piece of expressing yourself. Another reason is warmth, especially living here in Canada. Me running around outside naked in the winter when it's like minus 40 Celsius, not a good plan. And some protection if you're going to be out in the, certain areas that you want to protect your genitals, that you might want some, undergarments while you're walking through the jungle. So that's the benefits of clothes. All right. So I lovingly invite you to come over to the dark side. Oh, I forgot to tell you why they call me a shadynudist. Okay, so this is the last little thing before I let you go. So I burn really easy. And so I stay out of the sun. I'm always in the shade. Like everybody at the nudist resort is all the sun worshippers. They are always laughing at me. They're like, how is it that you're the same level of whiteness in the beginning of the naked season as you are at the end of the naked season. I'm like, that's because I spent a lot of time in the shade. And so I'm like, see, I'm a shady nudist. Not only do I spend a lot of time in the shade, but I also wear lots of sunscreen when I'm not in the shade. And, I love making sure that for me, because I burn so easily, it's not being covered in red, painful, skin peeling experience is not my ideal of a good time. Also, because I spend so much time in the shade, my skin is radiant and I, get to stay nice and young looking. Because I have lots of lubricant on my skin all the time. All right, so this episode, so that's it. That's all I wanted to say about nudism, right? Like, there's a lot of benefits. I highly recommend it. Remember, it has nothing to do with sex. The last thing I want to say for the guys, because this is always the question, is like, well, what if I get excited because I've never seen naked boobs and everywhere, and I get a boner? And so this is an ongoing like fear for the guys. And the thing is that it's okay to get a boner because that just happens. Sometimes that happens. That happens because you're aroused because of the visual stimulation. Sometimes it's because the wind feels really good. Sometimes because the sun feels good. The key piece of that, though, really, really important, is that you don't flaunt it. You get a boner, you just kind of lay on your stomach or you put your towel over top of it and you don't touch it and you don't stroke it, and it's a non-sexual space. So this is, the boner will pass, and there's nothing to be ashamed of or afraid of getting the boner. You just need to be respectful with your erection, and really remember, this is a non-sexual space. This is not a swinging event. This is not a sex club. Those are different things. And if you want to learn about how to navigate those, I just did a podcast. My 100th podcast was on play parties, all right? So, those are two separate things. So coming to the nudist resort, going to the nudist resort, being a nudist is non-sexual. All right. So I think that's all the pieces. Let's see what else. Oh, so today's episode was brought to you by Tickle.life. For all of your sexual wellness and educational needs, go visit Tickle.life. I am Gaia Morrissette. You can find me on all the social media platforms under Gaia Morrissette. If you're interested in needing some support and needing some coaching, you can always find me at succulentliving.com. I have some fantastic courses, tons of them. So, right now when we're in this downtime, this would be a great time to, start getting your sexy education on. You can find those at succulentliving.com under Work With Us online courses. And for all of your BDSM needs and education, you can find me at empressgaia.com. And the last thing before I let you go out into the world is don't forget, actually I lied, there's two things. First, don't forget to be listening to my podcast, My Orgasmic Life, that can be found on all of your favorite platforms. Also, we have an app, so you can go to Google Play Store and you can download my app so that you can bring me with you everywhere you go. Who doesn't want a little Gaia every day? And the last thing is that if you're interested, I host another podcast called Tickle.life podcast, and we talk with experts about their sex life, their juicy personal sex lives, their relationships, their personal lives, not their professional lives, so their personal lives. And so I get to ask a lot of probing questions, and you get to be really good voyeurs. And all of the links to all of the things will be in the comments and the show notes. So have a juicy day. May it be filled with expression and adventure, and hopefully with no pants. All right. Mwah! Bye-bye.